So you're a black graphic designer and you want to get started in the career, or you want to develop yourself. It's quite a unique position to be in as a black graphic designer. It's not the same as other fields, but there are some nuances that you should probably know about before you get stuck in there. Or perhaps you're actually already in there and you're just actually looking for some clarity. This is the video for you. So here's my brutally honest advice for black graphic designers from a black graphic designer that's been in the design game for 15 plus years. Now, this isn't by any means an exhaustive list. You can add to it. Other people can disagree, they can agree, but hopefully this should give you some directional clarity in certain areas that you might be struggling with. So the first one is to get structured learning. Quite a lot of graphic designers are self-taught, and that's okay. I'm pretty much self-taught, but I did go to university, and as much as I say repeatedly that university is not a required path for a graphic designer, I do have to admit that it gives some fundamental in terms of the knowledge. In the first year, I was learning the fundamentals such as balance, contrast, repetition, typography. All these kind of things helped me to be a better designer in the long run. As much as I really didn't like university, I don't think it helped me that much. It did give me the fundamentals I needed in order to be a better graphic designer. No shade, but I've come across a lot of designers that it's clear that they don't have the design fundamentals because they're very self-taught and they've just been doing it on their own for a long time. People have their different reasons for not getting structured learning, and they just kind of learn on the job, which can also work. But however, if you do have the means, I would advise you to get some structured learning, and it doesn't have to be university. You don't have to go to a school. There's a lot of courses online. I can't plug any because they're not paying me, but you can go online, you can find graphic design fundamentals. Even here on YouTube, you can find some fundamentals that are actually going to help you in the long run to be a better graphic designer, and it's going to make you stand out from the rest in terms of skill level and just your knowledge of the application and the why people do things and the why there's so much space in between certain objects on the page, the why of the layouts. You'll have more reason behind your design decisions rather than it just looking nice. So having structured learning, getting some kind of structured learning in the long run will actually help you down your path, and it gives you a very, very good foundation to grow. Secondly, be part of a community that's outside your bubble. Being a creative in general can be a very lonely experience, especially if you're a graphic designer, especially if you're a black graphic designer. And it is very, very tempting to only hang around people that are like you. As much as possible, and this is something that I wish I did, be part of a community of graphic designers that are from a different background. This is a good way to network, and opportunities do come from that kind of thing. Whereas if you're in your own little bubble, unfortunately, your own little bubble of people may actually be in the same situation as you, and they're not really necessarily going to help you. It can kind of stifle you a bit. I'm not saying that they can't give you great opportunities and stuff like that. I'm not saying that at all. But I feel like if we're just in our own bubble, we limit our growth because we don't see things from other people's perspective, because we don't engage with other people, And it's also the same for them. Like people that are of different races that are designers as well, if they don't hang out with people that are different races or different demographics, they also limit their knowledge. So I feel like it's also important to be around people that don't necessarily look like you, so that you can have a wider perspective as to different struggles or different opportunities, and just to be able to have, especially if you're freelancing, to be able to have access to other opportunities that are outside your own community, as well as the opportunities in your community. So I feel like it's a good thing to network outside your community as well as inside your community. And speaking of the community, network with people that look like you. This journey can be quite a lonely experience. You can be in your own silo. Some of you might work from home and you might just be by yourself all the time. There's a lot of people that look like you that need that kind of community online and in person. There's even online communities that you can join. There's one called Where Are the Black Graphic Designers? That's quite popular, but I also run my own called Black Design Circle. I will either pop up the QR code right here or I'll leave it in the description. But join a community of people that are actually going through a similar journey. Because from my experience, when I put it out that I want to connect with other Black graphic designers, I was really, really surprised as to the amount of people that felt that it was something that they needed. I had no clue. I was just being like, okay, I'm just being obedient here and putting it out there. But people have joined it, and the community is engaging, and it's very friendly, and people ask for different types of advice, and we're able to be honest about the struggles of being a Black creative. And so that's why joining the community where you can engage with other people that look like you and may have the same struggles also helps. And you can also cover each other's knowledge gaps, such as how much to charge, or if there's any opportunities. People post job opportunities in their workplace and all that kind of stuff. So it's very engaging, and it helps to collaborate as well. Sometimes in my community, people of different disciplines collaborate so that they can knowledge share, and that's actually really, really good, and it's an advantage. So please don't do this alone. It is a lonely experience, and it can be quite depressing. So if you can join a community of Black designers or Black creatives, that could really, really help as well. Now, this one is I'm going to be very blunt with this one. The odds are already against you. So don't show up as an unserious person. Take it seriously. I'll tell you a story. I used to work in a company, and my manager and I were interviewing for a new designer, and a potential new designer. I don't think we hired one in the end, but we were interviewing, and there was a bunch of people coming through. One of them was a Black guy, and I was rooting for everyone Black. I was like, yeah, another Black person interviewing. He came late. He was late to the interview, and that was very, very disappointing. As much as I really wanted to help the guy and be on his side, I really couldn't be on his side because he was late. And not only was he late, he didn't apologize for being late. And the interview itself I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was a bad interview. He had notes, which is good, and all that kind of stuff. And he was a nice person. He was a cool person, but he was late, and he didn't apologize for being late. He just kind of carried on. My manager, of course, who wasn't Black, who's also he's very friendly, but he also takes his job very seriously. And it was hard for me to be like, oh, that guy's great to him, because the guy turned up late and didn't apologize. The manager was just like, look, he's a cool person, but he didn't even say sorry for being late. And that kind of little thing made all the difference to that interview. It's those little things. The odds are already against you, right? It's already hard. The color of your skin, right, is already a factor that you have to think about in this life. Do not make it harder when you're already playing on hard mode. It's you're already playing on the hardest difficulty. Things such as turning up late, not knowing social cues, being a team player, all these kind of things are really, really important, and they go a long way, especially if you're in a professional environment. Do not make things harder for yourself unnecessarily. Take responsibility and don't mess things up for yourself, because I've seen that happen. Another one, which is a bit of a lighter note, you belong in the spaces that you're actually in. There's many times where I've started a job and I feel like I don't belong there because I'm the only person that looks like me in that job. My managers have never been Black. My teammates have never been Black. Not in the creative circle to today. And I've been in the job for 15 years. As a graphic designer, I've been through different companies. And people on my team, maybe only once, but not really. He was in an adjacent team, but he wasn't in my team necessarily. Was he in my team? I guess so. I guess he was in my team, but our disciplines were different. He was a UX designer. I was a brand designer. So we didn't really work together that much, really, in the short time that we worked together. But what am I trying to say here? I feel like as we progress in our career, and this is especially important when you're in a job, you sometimes feel like you don't belong there because you are Black and you don't see other people that look like you. But that doesn't mean you don't belong there, because if you don't belong there, they wouldn't have hired you. If you don't belong there, they wouldn't have given you that job. If you don't belong there, they wouldn't have given you that freelance opportunity. If you don't belong there, you will not be there. No one else is going to do it for you. You need to continue to remind yourself that you belong there. I have to do it, and I've been doing this for 15 years, because there's that kind of noise in the background saying, you don't belong here, there's no one else that looks like you. You feel like you're like some kind of imposter, and then you're going to be found out. It's like a game of werewolf or Among Us in real life. It's like, well, when am I going to be found out for faking it? But you're not faking it. You're hired because you have the skills and you can solve a specific problem. Don't let your insecurities stop you from knowing that you belong there. Toot your own horn. No one's going to do it for you. So you're in that position because you're supposed to be in that position to solve a specific problem. You belong in the space. So that's a very positive truth for a Black graphic designer. I don't know what number are we on? I don't know. Anyway, have passion projects that are outside your work. Even if it's not even graphic design related, do something that keeps you alive. Do something that keeps the creative juices flowing. For one, I like to do logo redesigns of random companies or well-known companies or imaginary companies. I do this not only because it shows my skills to the wider world, but I do it to keep my skills honed so that I don't get rusty, because I don't always get to work on logos at work, though I love logos. So to keep that skill going, to keep that skill refined, I do passion projects so that I don't lose that ability to design logos really well. I also do like creative writing. I have a newsletter which I should be writing on. I haven't updated it in a while, but I do different things just to keep my creative juices flowing. It doesn't always have to be a graphic design thing. I love to cook, for example. That's a passion of mine. Have passion projects, because you can't just be a graphic designer and that's your entire personality, or you can't just be work. That can't be your entire personality. You need to have passion projects so that it breaks you out of the mundane. And also it helps with your career as well, because it makes you an interesting person to talk to and to talk about. So the fact that I run a community for Black graphic designers, I share that in interviews because it's interesting. It makes you an interesting person to have a passion project so that you become more memorable. And that's not the main reason, but it's just a bonus of it. You're like, oh, that guy. They're like, oh, what do you do for fun? Or what do you do when you're outside work? They're like, oh, I run a graphic designer community, or I speak, or I run workshops, or I have a podcast, I have a YouTube channel. Don't be shy about sharing those kind of things. Having a passion project makes you a more interesting person. And it also teaches you skills that you never thought you'd need. Running a YouTube channel is not easy. I edit the videos, but it's a skill that I've developed over the years of creating videos. I don't have the biggest YouTube channel by any means, but having to edit a podcast, having to edit YouTube content, having to edit Instagram reels has helped me hone my video editing skills. And although I'm not a video editor, at work people can come and say, oh, can you clip this, or can you do this and that? And that skill has become very useful for me. So have passion projects that stretch your skills, because in the long run it might be handy. And I think this is the last one. You need to take responsibility for your career. It's not always other people's faults that things aren't progressing. Whether you're a freelance designer, whether you're working in a company, take accountability. It's your career. So yes, sometimes people are annoying, sometimes people get in the way, sometimes they are a barrier to your progress, but it's not always the case. And I learned this recently, in that, especially when I was freelancing, I needed to take responsibility for the fact that I wasn't getting work that I wanted to do. I would be getting work that I really wasn't passionate about, and that was my doing, because I wasn't sharing the work that I am passionate about. I wasn't putting the barriers in place to stop people from asking me to do work that I'm not aligned with. It was my responsibility that I wasn't charging enough. You need to take responsibility. Even the job market is very, very hard. It's very hard to find a job right now. However, we still need to take responsibility for finding that job, because no one else is going to do it for you. You still need to take responsibility for speaking up at work. When something's not working, speak up, be vocal to your manager, to your line manager about what could be improved, because it shows that you're observant. Take responsibility for your career. Nobody else is doing it for you. No one's going to baby you. So you got to put your grown-up pants on and take responsibility and accountability. It sounds harsh, but I think a lot of us need that harshness, because you'll learn the harsh way. Life is not going to give you a soft landing. You need to create that landing for yourself. So that's really everything. Hope that helped. If you're a Black graphic designer and you want to join a Black graphic designer community, it'll be in the description. But if there's anything else I've missed, what's your experience? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video in a bit.